Good evening. I'm calling to order this regular meeting of the Washington Township School Board. It is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 6 p.m. All 5 board members are present in person. We'll begin briefly with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we do begin the business of the meeting tonight, I want us to take a moment of silence tonight. Unfortunately, we lost a very well-loved, respected, and impactful North Central teacher, David Wheeler, this week. Our thoughts are very much with his family and the entire North Central community. I know many people personally whose children had the opportunity to experience learning from Mr. Wheeler, and we are deeply saddened by his loss. So at this moment, if we can just take a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on with our agenda tonight. The first meeting of the month, and this is our only meeting of this month, so we do traditionally read our mission statement as a reminder. So Mrs. George Davis will help us with that tonight.
Sure. The mission of Washington Township Schools is to nurture our students into tomorrow's leaders by cultivating environments that ignite innovation, amplify diverse and critical thinking, and inspire growth and achievement.
Thank you. Moving on to the agenda, the first item would be board recognitions. Dr. Pettigrew.
We are thrilled this evening to recognize Marla Palacio. She'll come forward. Marla Palacio, Director of Transportation. Congratulations, outstanding professional. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Indiana Association of School Business Officials, the State Transportation Association of Indiana, and Washington Township, we are proud to share that Marla has successfully completed all required and elective coursework for the joint IASBO State Transportation Association of Indiana certification program. This certification represents a strong commitment to professional growth in school business and transportation management. It is designed specifically for school transportation administrators and current or aspiring school business officials. It provides practical and high-quality training to strengthen leadership, operational knowledge, and service to Indiana public schools. Marla's completion of this rigorous program demonstrates her dedication to excellence and her commitment to continually improving the services provided to students, families, and staff. Please help us in congratulating.
Hey, it's a one-time business. Yeah.
Come on, team. Come on, team. Gotta have the whole crew.
And for those of you who don't know, Mrs. Palacios was a teacher and was an assistant principal prior to taking on this role. And I suspect that those years ago in a classroom, she never imagined herself as a director of transportation, but we are grateful that she took on that challenge and has thrived in it. Thank you, Ms. Palacios. Next item on the agenda is a school spotlight for a school that is near and dear to my own heart, Fox Hill. Mrs. Beard.
Yeah, it's the slideshow view. No.
I normally
Slide
work
over
with
to
Google
view
Slides. I hadn't used
slideshow.
PowerPoint in a while, so got there. All right.
Slideshow in the beginning. You have to use slideshow. Yeah.
Down at the bottom.
Yep. That works too. Nope. No. Why is
Right
it
there, it
doing
says swap displays. Yes. There you
Oh.
go.
Okay. you ready? Good evening, Dr. Taylor and school board. Thank you for allowing me to share about Foxville Elementary today. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to have my team, Foxville Foxville. Can you hear me okay? All right. So we will begin tonight with celebrations. I want to first start by highlighting that we are so proud and want to celebrate so many things about Foxville. Starting with staff members who are continuing their education. So we have 3 teachers who are currently pursuing advanced degrees. We have 1 teacher who has completed her advanced degree in her building level administrator program. And we also celebrate 6 teachers who have already passed their reading exam to add their early literacy endorsement. Oh, we got another one that passed yesterday, so we're at 7. And then in regards to our students, we want to highlight and are proud of many student groups. We are highlighting our student ambassadors. Our student ambassadors are mentors and representatives in our school. We also highlight our leaders in training, and this is a newly formed group, but these are students who are looking for leadership and growth opportunities, and it's led by our school counselor. We also celebrate many students through our Students of the Month celebration, where we honor students for displaying SEL and Portrait of a Panther and attributes. We also added a new celebration this year with our literacy specialist and our media specialist and our reading coach. And they are focused on literacy and improving reading. And so we call that program Fox Tracks, and we have some data for you. We have 122 students who have read 20 books this year. We have 73 students who have read 40 books this year, 52 students who have read 60 books this year, 30 students who have read 80 books this year, and 22 students who have read 100 books.
That's phenomenal.
We have had 177 students participate in after-school clubs that are led by our teachers and instructional assistants. And we also celebrate our robotics team, which we had several teams. We had 1 team place first place in our district. Also, are celebrating our school community. So we've added the Buddy Room partnership this year, and at least once a month, we have our primary and second and intermediate students collaborate on an SEL activity led by our school counselor, school social worker. Our school social worker, along with our PTO, also organized a new Foxville food pantry and have supported 20 families through holiday help, and then they've continued to support families. We also are working with the Assistant League Reading Buddies program, and so they're supporting our primary grades through reading. We also recognize several community partnerships and our active PTO and in terms of our goal progress, we have several data celebrations in terms of school improvement. So focus on iRead first. We increased our iRead pass percentage from last year to this year to 92% pass rate. That's close to the state pass rate of 90%. For M-Class, which is a benchmark that we give a few times out of the year, we had an 8% increase in the number of students performing at and above benchmark as measured by beginning of year to middle of year M-Class assessments. We also looked at last year middle of the year and this year middle of the year, and we had a 13% increase there as well. For iLearn, we had a 9% growth in the number of 3rd through 5th grade students achieving at and above proficiency on the ELA iLearn checkpoint 1 to checkpoint 2. And we celebrate discipline. We increased our referrals from last year to this year, and we have had 97.9% of our students with fewer than 2 referrals. We also are working towards our goals and looking at continued improvement. So some of those areas are working towards the state goal of 95% proficiency on iRead. We continue to increase iLearn checkpoint proficiency and overall iLearn summative proficiency. We're continuing to increase reading and math proficiency rates for students who have ENL and special education services. And we continue to increase attendance. And then promising practices that are showing closure for the achievement gaps. We recognize that professional development and coaching cycles that dedicated to highly effective teaching strategies and engagement structures to ensure all students are participated and have access to grade level instruction and material is an area that's promising. We continue school-wide PLCs. That's a time where our teachers are able to work collaboratively as teams and proactively as we work towards student growth. Our instructional leadership team walkthroughs and learning walks are continuing. That's a time for us to notice trends, but also a time for us to see opportunities for growth and learn for ourselves. And then this year, we continue teacher learning walks where they have an opportunity to go in each other's classrooms and learn from one another. And then we have a system and process for determining students' need or students who need enrichment and continued development in using that data to drive our growth. So moving on to recognition, this is one of my favorite parts of the spotlight. Can I have Michael Thomas? And I'm going to just read some words from Mr. Sins. So Michael is a calming force with our classroom that has such a positive effect on everyone. He is open to new friendships, works well with all classmates, and goes out of his way to motivate his partners and show this. Additionally, he has shown a unique ability to pick up on taught concepts quickly and is constantly asking for more challenging material, especially in math. Next, Michael shows great empathy and acceptance of everyone, no matter their difference. He works with Mrs. Conaway to mentor students in the PACES program and is fully welcoming to these students' integration into the classroom. He models examples of expected behavior. He is a contributor with United Sports. And finally, Michael also continues this mentorship in the Unified Sports program. We have it FOXO. Overall, I believe Michael truly encapsulates what it means to be a parent. He is an exceptional student and an exceptional leader. Congratulations.
Nice job. Nice job, Michael. Yes.
Oh, I just met his brother.
Okay, next may I have Tammy Rule. And I actually have a statement written by our PTO president, who's in the Ms. Strawbridge. So Tammy Rule has been an active member of the PTO since joining FOXO graciously, FOXO community. She has added so much joy to our school. Tammy graciously shares her artistic talent with the school by designing and making shirts for staff appreciation days, creating gift baskets, creating trophies for our annual Pi Day festivities, in addition to beautiful signs and banners. Tammy is a fierce advocate for our students and organized our school's first food and clothing drive after the pandemic. In partnership with another parent volunteer, Tammy also brought back Fox Hill's emphasis on the Fall Festival, which is the biggest event of the year. Furthermore, with the vision of making learning magical and fun, Tammy also created another tradition for our community called Pi Day. This event is now a fundraiser for our 5th grade experience and spring carnival. Tammy helps all year and is an active member in the broader Washington Township community. Tammy's presence is felt and her smile brightens the hall. We are grateful for her leadership. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much.
I know me too.
Next, come up. Our supportive partnership recognition goes to Ms. Kate Booker, Second Presbyterian Church. Ms. Booker is a social worker at Second Pres who has been an incredible support to our Foxville school community. She is a trusted resource and can always be counted on when our school social worker reaches out for partnership and guidance. Through her work at the church, she has helped connect our families with critical resources, including rent and utility assistance, food support, and other essential services during times of need. Her compassion, responsiveness, and commitment to serving families have made a meaningful difference in the lives of others. We are deeply grateful for her partnership. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And lastly, I would like to share the Washington County Schools Foundation support for Fox Hill. So there's a list of ways that they have supported our community, and I would like to share by reading the bullets. So Fox Hill staff uses Creditors membership to secure $18,000 in school supplies for Fox Hill classrooms last school year. 7 Fox Hill teachers had their classrooms adopted last year for almost $7,000 for individual impact. 3 Fox Hill staff members took advantage of our dollar-to-dollar donors word match and completed projects valued at $3,046. And last year, Fox Hill received 1 focus grant total of $4,766. This year, Fox Hill has received another $155. 3 requests currently. That concludes our presentation. But I appreciate you being here tonight to celebrate so much to be proud of.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Beard. All right, moving on, we will move on to our superintendent's announcements. Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, President Fry. Good evening, board. Good evening, Washington Township School community. Thank you again to Fox Hill. That was phenomenal presentation. I wanted to invite the board to our Teachers Treasures ribbon cutting. That is next Wednesday. That is a very exciting time for the district, exciting to expand that partnership. That'll be at the Services Center. If you're planning to attend, please enter through door 3. But we are especially excited to see teachers and our staff be able to take advantage of that partnership moving forward for the benefit of our students. And so there is an attachment there in board docs with a little bit more details. I also wanted to give a shout out and a note of appreciation to the West Lane Student Council. Mr. Melrose, their student council sponsor, invited me to come visit with the student council over at West Lane a few weeks ago. They asked a lot of great questions relative to school safety, building community. They wanted to hear a little bit more about student protests. And then I also gave them each a copy of our district strategic plan, and we walked through our goals and our mission, and wanted to make sure they took that home to their parents to educate their parents on our strategic plan. But it was a great opportunity. So there's pictures there of my visit. Just super impressed with that student council. Very engaged, very thoughtful questions. And so I was glad and honored to be part of it. Also, in honor of Black History Month, Marion County Public Schools superintendents got together. We created an advertisement that's going in the Indianapolis Recorder, highlighting our students to showcase Marion County Public Schools as we proudly celebrate the achievements and contributions of Black Americans. Together, we are committed to fostering learning environments that empower our students to thrive. We thank our community for its continued support of our Marion County Public Schools, where every student belongs and where every family is welcome. So that attachment there is for your review. It's You Matter Week throughout the district. And so that is our district-wide effort to support students' mental health and well-being. In this particular video that I linked for you that was shared by Willow Lake School Counselor Miss Caroline Redder, you'll see us highlighting our new SEL primary SEL curriculum that is Kimochis. And so something to do when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed is just to, what do they say? Just smell the flower and blow out the candle. And I will say, I've done it 96 times today and it does work. So cute little video there to showcase our elementary students across the district working on two very simple yet powerful strategies. Also wanted to remind the board about what I refer to as the second greatest spectacle in racing. That's the Great North Run coming up on March 14th. If the board is interested in volunteering, there's still some volunteer options if you're not running. So there's a link there for your review and consideration. And then finally, I thought the Indiana Association of School Business Officials did a great job with their recent updates on House bills and Senate bills that they've been monitoring impacting our schools. As everyone knows, the legislative session is looking to wrap up on Friday of this week. So its timeline is tight and it's an intense moment downtown right now, but there's some bills there that we've been following closely. And just appreciate our partners and Indiana Association of School Business Officials for keeping us informed and advocating on our behalf. And so with that, I'm happy to turn it back over to you, President Fry. That concludes my announcements this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. We've now reached the point on our agenda for public comments. Would anyone from the public like to address the board? If so, you can make your way to the podium. We didn't have anybody signed up. Okay. Seeing nobody, we'll go ahead and close that agenda item and move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Dr. Kaiser.
Thank you, President Fry, members of the board. I recommend that you approve the consent agenda for this meeting. The consent agenda includes approval of the minutes of the January 28th, 2026 regular board meeting and the memorandum of the January 28th, 2026 work study session. Approval of 5 payroll calculation summary reports, a claims docket in the amount of $10,823,718.35, a special personnel item in accordance with Indiana Code 20-26-5-11.2, a human resources report containing for classified personnel, 18 new hires, numbers 219 to 236, 9 resignations, numbers 102 to 110, 2 retirements, numbers 3 and 4, 2 terminations, numbers 21 and 22, and 6 leaves, numbers 35 through 40. For certified personnel, 4 resignations, numbers 31 through 34, 4 retirements, numbers 2 through 5, and 3 maternity, child rearing, or adoptive leaves, numbers 14 through 16. There is also acceptance of payment for 49D042205 CT 014737, and there are no non-competitive grants, gifts, or donations to present to the board.
Board, were there any questions on the consent agenda? Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. Moving on to our action items for tonight. Mrs. Smith has a few financial items. First one being the approval of our 2025 transfer appropriation resolution.
Thank you very much. In your board packet, you'll see what I have here on the screen, which is a resolution that indicates appropriation transfers that are required by State Board of Accounts. And what that is first column piece is what the board during the budget process that we have every year in August, September, and October. So what we do is we approve the budget on a major account code basis. Throughout the year, things change. We utilize expenses through different major accounts. And then at the end of the year, we're required to shore those up. So the middle section there is where you see the, if there was anything adjusted or added to that particular major account code, and then adjusted on the last column. However, you'll see in the very middle there where it says under total fund, the amount is 0 that's transferred plus or minus, because that nets 0. So we start out with the number there of 84 million, and we end with the same number. It's just stored up between the major account codes. Now, those do not transfer between funds. They're within the fund. So this is required. This has been required for about 30 years that I know of through the State Board of Accounts. So you'll see here we had some for education fund going in between all the major account codes. And then you'll see our referendum fund also, and you'll see that net effect of 0 there. And then our operations fund was our last one, where you'll see some adjustments there. And then at the bottom, that of course, that's where the board signs this. So we would ask for the board's approval for this resolution of these year-end.
Any questions for Mrs. Smith? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move we approve the 2025 transfer appropriation resolution as presented by Mrs. Smith.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it 5-0. Thank you. And moving on to item number 2, it is that time again for quarterly financial reports, our fourth quarter 2025 financial.
Thank you very much. As you'll see on the screen here is our customary quarterly board financial report. Also included in our board packet is the individual months and individual fund board reports. So this is the one that we always do at the quarter, where we have the education fund, our operating referendum fund, and our operations fund all together. We consider these our major funds. So looking through here, you'll see what our budget was approved for revenue and expenditures. You'll see what the quarter actually was, and then our year to date. Of course, with this being the end of the calendar year, the calendar year funds that run from January through December. So you'll see those totals for revenue that we received and also expenditures that we expended. Then you'll see down at the bottom our year to date summary. It shows those year-to-dates. It shows our beginning cash balance and our ending cash balance. So you'll see there that we are close to what we started out the year in, which is great as anticipated for these three major funds. So I would be happy to answer any questions the board may have on this fourth quarter 2025 financial reports as presented.
Board, any questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move we approve the fourth quarter 2025 financial reports for October, November, and December as presented by Mrs. Smith.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I just want to point out, it is always nice to see ahead of forecast on revenues and below forecast on expenses. And it's always nice to see that for the full year. So, nice to see us wrap up the year that way. If there's no more discussion, I will call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the quarterly financial reports are approved. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Moving on to action item number 3, approval of a service agreement with Winston Terrell Group. Dr. Kaiser?
Thank you, Dr. Taylor, President Fry, members of the board. I come to you tonight seeking approval of a short-term service agreement with Winston Terrell Group. Approval of this service agreement authorizes the district to engage Winston Terrell Group to provide advisement and collaboration with district leadership in support of strategic public outreach. Winston Terrell Group has been a longstanding partner of the district, providing similar strategic outreach consultation in the past. Proposed agreement, which is included in your board documents this evening, maintains the same scope of services and fee structure as prior agreements with no cost increase. Total cost of services is $40,000. This concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Board, any questions? Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the short-term service agreement with Winston Terrell Group as presented by Dr. Kaiser.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. You get to stay right there for the second reading of our school-sponsored publication and production policy.
Thank you, President Fry. I do also come to you this evening seeking approval of the second reading of revisions to board policy C-475, school-sponsored publications and productions. As I shared in our first reading, this revision has been discussed and recommended by the board policy committee and represents a transition back to some prior board policy language detailing the relationship between school administration and school publications. This new version of the policy, as well as a red line version highlighting the changes, are both in your board documents for this evening, and I welcome any questions the board may have.
Any questions, board? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Move that we approve the second reading of revisions to board policy C-475 of school-sponsored publications and productions as presented. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll call the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it 5-0. Thank you. And you get to stay there yet again for the proposal for stay interviews with CEISC.
Thank you, President Fry. My final request for this evening is for board approval of the third and final agreement with the Central Indiana Education Service Center to conduct stay interviews with Washington Township Schools. As a township, we are committed to both retaining our employees and providing a positive work environment for all. And towards this end, the district is engaging in stay interviews to determine how employees feel about their jobs and what the district can do to ensure that job satisfaction remains high. To that end, in 23-24 school year, district embarked on a 3-year plan to interview all employees. In 23-24, staff at Clearwater, Greenbrier, Nora, West Lane, and JEL Career Center participated in surveys and interviews. Last year in 24-25, staff at Allisonville, Eastwood, Spring Mill, Willow Lake, and True North Academy participated in on-site interviews. And this year, we will conduct on-site interviews at the remaining 5 school buildings in the district: Fox Hill Elementary, Cricket Creek Elementary, Northview Middle School, North Central High School, and the Early Learning Center. This concludes my presentation, and I'm pleased to respond to any questions the boards may have as we work to finish our 3-year state.
Board questions? Mr. Turner?
This is real quick and easy one. So when you look at that over a 3-year period, folks that you interviewed the first year versus when you get to the third year, does this organization help you, I don't know, collate or get those different, because it may change, right? The environment may change over time.
Absolutely. So yeah, for each school individual site, they compile a summary document for us that highlights the trends that appear, and we have seen over the course of time some changes in those that we are monitoring.
Going up, better, good changes? Okay.
So then explain what you do with that data.
So that's reviewed by the executive leadership team as well as the building leadership team at each individual site. So once we receive that, Mr. Guam with elementary school teachers and then Dr. Sieber with secondary school teachers will review that feedback. They then take some of that feedback to their school improvement planning committees to discuss if there are things that need to be addressed from that or things to be highlighted as celebrations to continue as promising practices. And then we try to look for, are there practices that are happening at buildings that are leading to high levels of job satisfaction that we can help to replicate across the district, perhaps in other buildings?
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a motion.
Move that we approve the 2025-26 day interviews proposal by CIESC as presented by Dr.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it 5-0. And I think you get to sit down, Dr. Kaiser, and we'll bring Mr. Boots up for cap construction project change orders. Oh, yeah. Yep. Capital construction project change orders. Take it away.
Madam President, good evening, members of the board, and Dr. Taylor. I am here this evening asking approval of one project change order, Skillman Davis Joint Venture for the Washington Township Services Center. Additional details was included in your board's packet. The financial impact of this change order is $127,347 and will be funded from capital improvement. Be happy to respond to any questions.
Or questions? I have a motion.
I guess.
Oh,
Yeah. I got one.
okay. Go ahead, Mr. Dalton.
When is it service center done?
It's substantially finished. Yes, we got some odds and ends to finish. This is just cleanup paper. Majority of the work is.
Mr. Davis?
I just wanted to know what a rain garden curb was. What's a rain garden curb?
Rain garden is it captures rain stormwater, lets it filter down through and cleanse itself, as well as water the plantings in that rain garden bed. So there'll be one on the south edge of the services center at the parking lot there. And then just as we finish up everything where the construction laydown gravel lot is right now, that will also become large rain. That'll be a large green space in the middle.
So I want to make sure I understand what's happening there. So we're using the rain to keep it, like, rather than a sprinkler system.
Yes, instead of a
Okay.
pond, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Just hold it and let it silt down.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll go ahead and, did I already get a motion? Sorry. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the capital construction project change order as presented by Mr. Boots.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Boots. Stay right there for our last action item of the night, which is the proposal for the Spring Mill main entrance door replacement.
Madam President, yes, I am asking approval of an agreement with Dahlman Contractors LLC for the replacement of the main entry security doors at Spring Mill Elementary that was damaged recently. Additional information on that is included in your board packet. The cost of this will be $154,015 and will be funded with insurance proceeds. Be happy to answer any questions.
Board, any questions?
Just a minor one. So what you just said at the end, insurance is paying for, part of the reason for the delay in getting them a new door? Or is it just the timing from when it happened till now is the best we could do? Okay. All right, thank you.
I will just add that because it's due to the amount and due to it being insurance, sort of insurance for our home, we did put it out for bid. We also wanted the storefront to be our standard that we have with our other schools where we replaced and put in the secure entrance. So we did use CSO to do the construction drawings and then to help us with the documents. And then they will also oversee the construction administration. So obviously that process takes a little time. And so that's why we're.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much.
Mr. Thompson?
So is this the last elementary school that does not have, that will now have, will all the buildings have a secure entry?
Spring Hill did have a
You did.
secure entry.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just those were very, very old doors.
Got
And
it.
so it'll be a complete new storefront entrance. It'll look more like, not all the glass, but it'll look more like maybe like a Clearwater Little Lake, but
Okay.
not so extensive, I guess. I'm trying to think maybe who else got a build out, maybe Greenbrier.
Greenbrier will look similar.
Right, so similar to that.
That's
So
cool. Thank you.
I will say, it needed it. We did not need it.
We didn't need it till we got it.
But it did, but those doors. It'll be nice to have a brand new store. We call it a storefront.
Mr. Rosales?
I may have missed it, so forgive me if I did, but I was trying to see what the timing. Is this gonna begin immediately or are we waiting for school to be over? When will they start the work?
Quickly, most of
Okay.
it happened in the summer.
Okay,
Just because of the front entrance.
Right.
Security.
that's what I was wondering, how we were gonna do that with kids in there. Okay, thank you.
I like the protective bollards aspect.
And there
too.
are all dollars we're putting in the front as well, but hopefully prevent this from ever happening.
For anyone listening at home, a vehicle drove through the doors. That's why they're being replaced. So, okay, do I have a motion?
Move to approve the Dahlman Contractors proposal for Spring Mills main entrance door replacement as presented by Mr. Boots.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it 5-0. Thank you. Right. That concludes action items for tonight. We do have one information item. Mr. Smith gets to join us again with numbers and share the required financial year report.
This is one of our customary presentations that we like to do for information for year end. This is doing. And what we'd like to do is to show the differences between the years, comparisons, and how we ended up with the 2025 financial year end, and then also our 2026 certified budget. So we'll move through and we'll go through our main funds, which we indicated earlier as that education fund, which if you remember before used to be called General Fund, our operating referendum fund, and our operations fund, which used to be known as capital projects fund, transportation operating, and bus replacement. So we will go through the education fund, and we like to show this 6-year comparison. So you'll see from 2020 all the way to 2025, where it shows our beginning cash balance, our total receipts, our total expenditures, our ending cash balance. Then we also add our carry forward encumbrances. So what that means is that is opening purchase orders that were at the end of the calendar year that we owe, we promised to pay those vendors and that haven't been paid yet. So we like to adjust the cash balance because we've already spoken for those. So that's where you see the adjusted cash balance. If you look at anything official, our cash balance is the actuals that you see there where it says ending cash balance. If you look at any of the state reports, but we like to give you both. So you'll see there in 2020, you'll see we had $12.5 million. And then throughout the years with our added student enrollment, state support tuition changes, all that has helped with our revenue, along with us maintaining our expenditures within those limits. So you'll see our ending cash balance there of a little over $20 million in our education fund. And then also adjusted with a couple $100,000 of carry forward encumbrances. So that is our education fund, which is our main funds that we use for directly aimed towards student instruction. That is everything at the school buildings level. And then we have that same data from those numbers in graph format. There's all different types of people that like to see it different ways. So we always like to show you that in both aspects there with these graphs, where you'll see our ending cash balance, and then you'll see our receipts versus our expenditures on the right-hand side graph there. Next, we'll go through our operating referendum fund and that history. As you recall, in 2020, this was up to 2020 when we had our operating referendum renewed at a higher rate at our 25 cents. And that just shows you that our history of what all that took to get to that point here for the history of the election, for that to go through the revenue from 2021 through 2028. And then just to remind you, the areas that were covered with our operating referendum, that was renewing our existing referendum that had continued funding for teachers, administrators, and other classified positions. It was to increase staff pay and also some other additional staff throughout the district. So here is the operating referendum 6-year data comparison also with the beginning cash balance all the way showing the receipts and the expenditures and the ending cash balance. And you'll see those carry forward encumbrances. Just to remind you, the reason why you don't see very many carry forward encumbrances is because the majority of this fund is salaries and benefits. So that's why there's not a lot that you would see. There might be some ancillary things that are also with some of those added positions like supplies and those type of things. But the last couple of years we haven't had to carry forward any of those encumbrances, those purchase orders. So you'll see that in 2025, a little over $6.7 million of cash balance left in our operating referendum fund. And when we're preparing these budgets, we have estimated revenue that we do through the budget process. And of course, then we have estimated expenditures that are approved. During that process, our revenue, depending on how much revenue we do collect from property taxes, and that attribute to the receipts that we estimate from when we estimate during the budget process to what we actually receive through that calendar year. So you'll see that. And those are the graphs to show those cash balances and the revenue and expenditures. Last but not least, with the major funds is our operations fund from 2020 to 2025. That's also that 6-year comparison. And you'll see that, if you recall, during the 2020 referendum, we had so much allocated through our capital constructions. And then we also had some other projects that were above and beyond what we were receiving for the capital referendums. So that was where we were building up from our operations fund to do some of those other ancillary projects that we were adding on to our capital referendum thought process. We only received so much money, and then this was to fund the other. So you'll see that where we were building up, now that we're near the end of the funding for the capital referendum, you'll see us start utilizing more of the operations fund the next couple years, because that original funding through our general obligation bonds and leases are dwindling down, and then we'll switch to this fund. So that is by design to see that go up, and then you'll also see it by design for us utilizing that for the last several projects above and beyond what our regular capital referendum dollars were for. So you'll see that a little over $35 million there in our operations fund. there's the charts to showcase those numbers for our operations fund.
Mrs. Smith, would you mind if I stop you there and ask a question since we're kind of shifting into? Okay. Under the operating referendum fund, just kind of looking at the trends in those numbers, looking at the receipts, kind of 23, 24, 25, just slight increases, increased value of property and whatnot, but as expected, right? No, you wouldn't expect any major changes.
Valuation.
But then there's a pretty significant jump above the trend in our expenditures between 24 and 25.
Gotcha.
So is there, I know obviously we have given people raises, we have given people stipends, but is there any particular reason that jump in expenditures was more significant this past year than it was in the past?
Just utilizing more of the operating referendum fund. I'll give you an example. When we changed and had to do our budget for 2025, that was before they dissolved our curricular materials fund.
Okay.
The curriculum materials fund rolled into our education fund, but we already had our appropriation established. So then we were able to utilize the other fund for some of that difference, if not. And that's for additional appropriation of education. Because of that, you recall that was several millions of dollars. I think it was $3.4 million that used to be in our curriculum materials fund that moved in the education fund, but then we weren't able to spend it. We already had our budget down. This one had excess room in the budget to be able to spend from it. So thank you for clarifying that. So that is why the big jump, and you'll see us maintain ours in the education fund for expenditures.
That makes
Normal.
perfect sense. Thank you. And sorry for the disruption. Apparently, if you cross your legs under the table, you can just smack the little glass screen all the way off. So sorry about that. But okay, that was my question on that portion.
Any other questions on the major funds before we roll into the 26 budget? Okay, well, we're gonna go into that. Our budget was certified in, I think it was the 7th or 8th of January. They were a little late this year. That wasn't on us. That was the LGF, local government. So they were a little behind. Usually by Indiana code, they're supposed to certify everyone's budget orders by December 31st. So they were just a little late in Marion County, especially with all the changes in our area. If you remember, our area had some things that through the legislative session that were effective before some of the other counties in the state. So that's why it took them a little bit longer. But here you'll see our certified budget for our budgeted funds. They're on the first column. You'll see that approximately 219 million there. And you'll see each one listed separately. And then if you recall, our rainy day, we usually just put about $1 million, and that's only for emergency purposes. If the board would want to spend that later, if we had any kind of emergency. So we just automatically budget a little amount in our rainy day fund just in case there's an emergency. So you'll see those appropriations in there for the budget. Then you'll also see our certified assessed valuation. And what we have down at the bottom is the difference between 2026 and 2025 and the difference. So you'll see how our assessed valuation went up from our 25 totals compared to our 26 totals. And just to remind you also, you'll see 2 of those funds in the certified assessed valuation higher than the rest. And that is our referendum funds. And that is because they do not have the certain caps that the other ones have. They're exempt from those caps. So that's why that assessed valuation is higher for those particular funds and how that attributes to the calculation for taxpayers versus our other funds. And then you'll see our certified levy, which is the property taxes. You'll see that in our all of our funds except for, of course, rainy day and education fund. Our education fund revenue comes from our state tuition, our basic grant. And then you'll see our operations fund, our referendum funds, and our debt service funds are all from property taxes. And then you'll also see our certified rate. We were excited to see this year that we were able to go down 4 cents in our tax rate for our taxpayers. So we went from 1.16 to to 1.12. So that's a nice decrease for our taxpayers there. And then you'll see our beginning cash balances that mimic what we had on the other slides as our ending cash balance for our major Department of Local Government funds for 2026. So this is our beginning of the year certified budgets and estimated revenue for the district. We'll go through the whole year. You'll see the quarterly reports as customary. You'll see another thing at year end explaining how we end up at the end of 2026. And then in a couple more months, you'll have me come back to you and, we'll be talking about 2027 budget prep. So it just continues and never stops. I would be happy to answer any questions the board may have on our, on the budget orders for the next continuing year.
Mr. Thompson?
More or less of a question versus a statement, but what would we do without you?
That's why there's CFOs at every district. Yeah,
Oh, but thank you for your,
our crazy, people that love numbers.
Any other questions? Board? All right. Thank you very much. Mrs.
Thank
Flynn.
you. Thank
As
you very
always, we
much.
appreciate it. That has brought us, almost to the end of our agenda. Last item will be special events and liaison reports, where our board just reports out on any behind the scenes work they've been doing with committees and other things. I'm gonna pick on Mrs. Horth Kruger and make her start this time.
Okay. I attended the Parent Council Network meeting this month, and that was very interesting. And then I participated in the strategic plan, our tactical group for communication and connections. So participated in that and attended the auditor exit interview with Dr. Taylor and Mrs. Smith.
Thank you for doing that, because I was out of town, so somebody had to step in for me. Mr. Turner, we'll go around that.
I didn't bring my notes, I forget, so pardon me but I did have a community coalition meeting. I know Mrs. Palacios did present about transportation. Was it Dr. Kaiser? Yep, it was Dr. Kaiser that also did a presentation. It was a pretty short meeting this time around. It was really just the presentations from the district to give them an understanding of what's happening. But it's still, every time they do one of those presentations, the members of that committee that aren't administration get something out of it. So it's good to have those meetings. The community knows a little bit more about what we're doing behind the scenes. So it's good to know. Other than that, that's what I did.
Loop around to me. We've started work for the legal RFP committee. Unfortunately, to cancel a meeting, but the work continues. So I've been involved in that. I did have a chance to go to North Central's curriculum night a few weeks ago, and I was very impressed. Well, first of all, I got to see some of the new things, new senior cafeteria, and some of the parts that had opened over Christmas break in North Central that I had not seen yet. But also I got to really appreciate some of the changes that the leadership has made to curriculum night. I was super impressed with, they developed like breakouts. So kind of common topics, common questions. They get a lot from incoming freshmen. They sort of did like little breakout workshops that parents could choose from. I saw tons of really engaged conversations at the different kind of tables for all the different departments and whatnot. So I was very impressed by the way that North Central leadership has evolved that event. That's it for me.
Policy meeting, Dr. Kaiser. And then most of the rest was off-site, but got to see some of the show choir competition 3 days ago.
Center Grove.
Yes. And then the orchestra one, which was the week before that, or 2 weeks, I can't remember, but it's since the last board meeting. It's all blending together. And then got to see our track club run in 2 different races. So I've been supporting offsite.
Great. And Mr. Thompson,
All righty.
you've been up to lots.
I have, and I was gonna say, I think this is our only board meeting we had this month.
Yeah.
right? So I have kind of a lot, but I'll try to
Reel it off.
So I got the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. To the NSBA, the National School Board Association's Advocacy and Equity Institute, and got the opportunity with the MSD Lawrence Township and MSD Warren Township, to meet with Senator Todd Young and the office or staffers of Andre Carson. So that was a very good time, and got a federal update on some federal laws and shared those with the board and Dr. Taylor. Let's see what else. I went to a few basketball games, but senior night, Muncie, they played Muncie Central, and we took home a win, so that was a good one. The other ones, I don't think we were so lucky. I got yesterday, I went to the ISBA Advocacy Day at the State House, so that's the Indiana State School Board Association, and got to meet with some of our Senate representatives that represent Washington Township, Victoria Garcia Wilburn, and also found out a lot about legislation, a lot of which Dr. Taylor shared, and I also shared with the board. I thought what was interesting with legislation, at least this time around, I'm seeing a trend. Senate Bill 270, which doesn't affect Marion County Townships. And then there's another bill that requires the Department of Local Government and Finance and the Department of Education to work together to look at administrative efficiencies across school districts. But the trend there is they're looking at like townships and school districts and mergers. Again, most of this doesn't affect Marion County because we're larger, but there's rural counties that, you know, might have 5 or 6 school districts with like 30,000 population. So they're looking at, so that's just interesting. House Bill 1423 just passed concurrence. For those who are unfamiliar, it's the IPS bill where basically, and it's huge change, but it's the IPS bill where charter schools and IPS will be under one unified board. IPS will still have their school board, but basically this new education corporation will maintain facilities and transportation for all of the schools within the IPS boundary. And so that's a very controversial bill for a lot of reasons. And so it'll be interesting now that that's passed, what comes next for public schools all across the state. And then let's see. I got to go to the NCPTO meeting, and I got to also see all the new parts of North Central, which is really, really cool. The gathering stairs are going to be really cool. And then the new media center and learning center is really nice. And I mean, there's probably more stuff, but I'll spare you guys. So, I did learning walks, which are a lot of fun. So got to spend time with Dr. Kaiser at Crooked Creek on Tuesday, and then 2 weeks ago with Dr. Taylor at Eastwood. So been very busy. Legislative session has been very busy. One thing I didn't mention, which is likely going to pass, is the cell phone ban. And they just changed an amendment that would have allowed schools to use the school safety grant to figure out how to do it. So it's a lot, but yeah. So thanks.
We appreciate your involvement in advocacy on behalf of the district. Thank you. That reaches the end of the agenda tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.